Is that a breakup?
I think we have a situation right here.
On the filling station.
Hello?
Hey Tinto, how are you?
Hey, not too bad. Finally, we get to talk. How you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
The day of the recording has finally come. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for this to happen. How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good and I'm ready.
Okay. So before we go too far, I need to let you know that we are recording an episode of The Feeling Station. So please do your best not to say your name, okay?
Okay.
But don't get too stressed out by it. If you do accidentally say your name, I'll be able to bleep it out. So don't get too stressed about it.
Okay, cool.
Now, for those listening to this podcast for the first time, it's a podcast that touches on breakup stories that people would like to talk about, with a view to give you, the listener, a lesson that you could benefit from. Or if you've learned from all the lessons so far, it's an opportunity for you to share a lesson with somebody who you care about. Now, moving on to your bit. As you know, I need to give you a name to keep you anonymous. That's part of the reason why the podcast has done okay so far. So the name that I'm giving you is from Ghana, in a language known as Twi, and it's Efia.
Efia. Nice.
Yeah, Efia, yeah, which is Effiya. Efia.
I think I'll name my kid that one day.
Oh, you're going to call them Efia? Right.
Just
And
because
it's a nice name. And that name means born on Friday. Do you know what day you were born on?
I was actually born on a Friday.
No way. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was
I'm
Friday.
getting pretty good at this. You know, the names that I dish out seem to have a relevant meaning.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to think of it, I think I was born on a Thursday, if I remember. So if I was born in Ghana and I spoke Twi, then my name would be Yaw, which is Y-A-W.
Born on Thursday.
Yeah, born on Thursday. So this is the interesting part for me. What is the name that you're going to give the guy you're going to talk about today? I like that cheeky laugh. Should I be worried about the name that's coming?
I'll really be nice. I wasn't intending on giving this person a really nice name, but
Okay.
I'll go with Bella.
Bella, right? Is that Bela?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Hebrew neutral name. It can be used on both gents and ladies.
Okay.
And it means destruction.
Oh, yikes. Okay. I thought you said you're going to give him a nice name. It's a nice name, but the meaning is a bit.
I was going to go with Judas, but then I realized, you know what?
Okay, so
Let's be nice.
okay, can I assume that you named him a name that means destruction because he destroyed you?
Basically.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to get straight into it then. What lessons would you like people to learn from the story that you're going to tell us today?
The first lesson,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, you know how the Bible says pray always?
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget your prayers.
Ooh, don't forget your prayers. Your prayers about the relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Pray always
Mm-hmm.
about your relationships.
Okay.
The other lessons will come as we go, but the first lessons I can give is pray always.
Okay.
And secondly, red flags.
Mm-hmm.
You were given a sense for a reason.
Did you say you were given sense for a reason?
The sixth sense.
Okay, right. Okay. Wow.
And the sixth sense usually gives you an indication of red flags. Those are the first two lessons. The others will come as the story goes.
Okay, cool. Well, let's get straight into it. What did you like about Bella?
Oh, Bella.
Mm-hmm.
Bella was this tall caramel, gentle, gentle human being. He was just a very nice person.
Yeah.
He wasn't, well, from face value, he wasn't a person who showed off too much.
Mm-hmm.
He lived a humble life, even though he seemed like he had everything.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't really see his everything. He actually put other people first.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just a really caring person. He knew when something was wrong. He knew when things were going okay for you, and he always wanted to be around me, not really in a sense of, yeah, what am I going to get from her, but just to make sure that I was okay,
Okay.
regardless of what situation I was in.
Yeah, he sounds like he's a really caring guy from the sound of things so far.
Yes, he was. He
And
was.
was it one of the things that really, really got you attracted to him when you guys met? You're like, oh, this guy's really nice and caring.
What attracted me to him was partly that,
Mm-hmm.
and he seemed like he didn't want to waste my time.
What does that mean?
So I had been in a relationship previously and I had been single. I was on this single journey for about 2 years.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I didn't want to actually be in a relationship with anyone unless it would lead to something more than just a relationship.
And are we
So,
talking marriage here? Unless it led to
yes.
marriage, you didn't want to know.
Yeah, unless it led to marriage, I didn't want to know.
Okay.
If you were still trying to study me and make me your degree, I wasn't really interested.
So,
Because my last relationship had lasted about 6 years.
wow, your previous relationship was about 6 years.
Yes.
Wow.
So I was not trying to be a degree for another person. I didn't have an extra 6 years to play around with anyone.
Out of curiosity, how did Bella make it clear to you that he wasn't just trying to mess about?
Oh, Bella.
Mm.
He was clear from the beginning. He just said, you know what, I'm not even trying to mess around. This is my life. This is who I am, and um, it's either we're not going to date for long.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it doesn't take a while for people to finally tie the knot. It shouldn't take you more than a year to decide. And he was very clear. He said, when a man knows, he knows.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, well, since you know, great, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah. And so that's what made me believe that he was ready and he was going to take the step
Nice.
of marriage with me, I guess.
And then how did things progress?
Him and I met at Bible study. Hey.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, why the sigh? That's a really good place to meet someone, right?
I don't know how to put it. Well, he had been added to a Bible study group that I was in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he had been added at the same time with a whole bunch of people.
Uh-huh.
The reason why we clicked quite a little bit is because I was teasing people on the group the day he was added.
Okay.
So I changed his name from like Bella to like Bellas or something. And
Okay.
everyone was laughing.
Yeah.
And so I then texted Bella on the side and I said, please don't think I'm a crazy person. This is just, I'm a really good person. Just come to Bible study when you can.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So he ended up coming to Bible study that Wednesday. And for some reason, he had been fasting the whole day. So I was like, you, husband material. So we got to Bible study at the same time. It wasn't planned.
Yeah.
And so he introduced himself, and I was like, oh, Lord, this is not the first time I'm seeing this person. Wow. But now I don't know. Like, Lord, he just, like, let him just take me now. So we started talking when he sent a message to the same Bible study group saying his dad is very ill. We pray. And me being the person I am, I was just like, okay, he's my friend or he's an acquaintance or someone who I pray with. So I might as well pray for his dad.
Yeah.
I texted him and I asked him, how's your dad doing? And how are you? Because a lot of the times we often ask people how their situation is without finding out how they're coping.
Yeah, that's right.
So I asked him how he was doing and he seemed okay. And then he told me that he would be going to Zim, where his father is, in the next few weeks. So I was like, okay, cool. I let it slide. I think about 3 or 4 weeks later, I then sent him a message again, knowing that he was going to travel to Zim.
Yeah.
And I asked him, how's your dad doing? And then his response was not about his dad. He sent me a message saying, my contract has come to an end. but I'm coming for a psychometric test in your area, in the area where you work.
Oh,
So could we meet for coffee?
okay.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll meet for coffee, you know? And so we met up for coffee, which ended up being lunch and coffee.
Mm-hmm.
We kept talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it went great. And I had to like tell him, okay, now I need to go back to work. So I went back to work and I continued my day. From
Mm-hmm.
that time onwards until like the next day when he was leaving for Zimbabwe, he was quiet. So I was like, okay, maybe maybe the date, the fake.
Maybe you only had the fun in the date and he didn't quite feel the same. Yeah.
Exactly. So I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna be quiet as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought to myself, no, man, that's not fair. Let me not be that person.
Yeah.
I would rather than just check on him because he said he's traveling to Zim and I don't even know how he's traveling. So I checked on him the next day and then he told me things are getting worse and now his sister's also sick and stuff
Mm-mm.
and doctors are just it was just a mess. And then I told him, okay, no, it's fine. Just let me know when you're back.
Yeah.
And so the Monday he came back from Zim
Mm-hmm.
and then he sent me a message. It was like 5 a.m. in the morning.
That's a bit
And
early.
he's like, you've been on my mind the
Mm.
whole and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
let me keep melting.
Yeah.
So um we then started talking and eventually one of the days he asked me, what are you doing for the long weekend? Because there was a long weekend coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him I'm going on a solo location because I'm not dating anyone. I might as well just go
Oh,
and
yeah.
have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I had already been on this healing journey and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he told me, okay, since you've decided to go to wherever you're going, um, I'm deciding to go to the UK. So I'm like, hey, okay,
What? What?
that your retaliation's weak, but it's also on point. Why are you going to the UK?
Yeah.
Then he told me, no, the reason why I'm going back is because I'm actually going to just finalize one or two things because he had been staying there for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So he had relocated back to South Africa and he wanted everything to be closed off on that side.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, cool, great, go, but come back because then how are we supposed to continue talking if you're like all the way there? When am I going to see you?
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
By this time, were you guys an item yet, or he was still kind of dropping hints that he likes you?
He was dropping a million hints that he
Okay.
liked me.
And at this time, were you feeling like you like him too?
I had been feeling like I like him too from the 5 a.m. text.
Okay.
Yeah. I had
Okay.
been feeling like him too from the 5 a.m. text.
So were you basically
So,
just waiting for him to say, "Hey, can you be my girlfriend?"
yeah, I wanted that formalness because this way of just becoming an
Yeah,
item doesn't
yeah.
work.
Okay, cool.
So then we met before the weekend, the long weekend. He
Mhm.
actually asked me, when am I coming to your house for lunch?
Mm.
I was like, okay, I'll prepare something on, I think it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the Monday was a holiday or something.
Yeah.
So I told him, come through on the Thursday since you're not working,
Mhm.
and then we can have lunch, and then you can prepare to go, like to
Mhm.
the UK,
Okay.
right? He was scheduled to go on the Saturday. So on the Thursday, he came through. But on the Wednesday night, he decided to give me his life story. So he called me quite late at night and then he told me, no, actually, ma'am, I have a child. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay, what happened? How did you end up having a child? And he told me, no, my ex cheated on me with a married man. And then I came to visit and it was a whole long story. and she fell pregnant. So I'm like, okay, are you still together? Because
Hold up a sec. So his ex cheated on him with a married man, and
yes,
then he came to talk about to talk to her about the situation, and in that whole process they ended up sleeping with each other and she fell pregnant.
yes,
Rah. Okay.
rough. It's really rough.
Mm.
So then they he didn't tell me how old the child was.
Why didn't you ask?
I don't know. I was just like, at least he's been open, that
Mhm.
he has a child. And I also think this is where my next lesson comes in. Always set boundaries for yourself.
Okay.
Don't let those boundaries be brought down by anyone,
Okay.
because it might lead to something really painful for you later on.
So always set boundaries slash standards for yourself. Uh-huh.
Slash standard. So he told me he had a child. He told me the story about the ex, and I was like, all right, cool. And we ended our conversation. I'll see you later. I'll see you later. He came through. We had dinner, which was actually quite late. It was
Mhm.
like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Mhm.
So we basically had dinner. And then as we spoke and stuff, I don't know what happened. We just ended up kissing.
Yeah.
The guy told me, so you're gonna miss your boyfriend when he's gone. And I'm like,
Mm.
oh, okay, is that how it works? Okay.
And what was your response?
It was just, yeah, I'll miss you. I was really shy. I was really, really shy.
Wow.
And so he left for the UK that Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and he was gone for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In those 2 weeks, he was amazing, man. He was calling me to check on me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I really wanted, it's like someone had given him a memo and said, okay, Effie likes it when a guy does this,
Yeah. Yeah.
or do this and you get her heart. So
He was doing it all.
he was doing extra,
Mm.
Tinto, like extreme.
Mm.
So he came back. That the night when he came back, he sent me a message saying, I really want to see you. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. You can see me. I'm by my cousin's house. It's not far from where you stay, so you can pass by.
And by
He
this
came.
time, you already consider yourself his girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay.
So he came through to my cousin's house, and he had brought me gifts from the UK, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, shoes, clothes. He had brought stuff. He had brought me stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which I felt was really thoughtful. But then there was a pair of shoes in his car that I didn't understand why they were in his car.
Used or new?
They were used, and his kid's car seat was also in the back seat. So I didn't understand why the car seat was in the back seat and why those shoes were there if he had left his car at his house.
Right. So before you go too far,
Mm.
that was the perfect opportunity for you to ask the question, to say, hey, what's the car seat doing? What are the shoes doing? Because you'd have had an answer.
Yes, it was.
Now, did you ask the question?
I didn't ask the question.
How come?
I don't know. I won't lie to you. I think I was just blinded by the thought that this guy actually is here, and he loves me and he cares and he's here. I don't know.
I
I
don't.
can't give you I can't give you a valid reason.
Okay. I was just going to say, I don't know if I can say you were blinded because you saw it and you recognized it and it registered in your mind.
Yeah,
But
it really did.
but for some reason you just chose to put a mental block on that. Is it because you maybe thought to yourself, okay, whatever the reason is, it will come to life on its own without me asking?
And it will be a valid reason.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
So what had happened was, before he came back to Joburg,
Mm.
The 2 years included the time when the woman got pregnant,
Okay,
right? So by the time he was coming back, he had stuff for the child as well.
okay,
So in my head, I thought it would be a valid reason, like, okay, no, probably he went to drop off stuff that he had got for his kid. If he had bought me stuff, he probably bought stuff for the kid as well.
Okay.
But I didn't understand why the shoes were in there if they were used already.
Yeah. Okay. So I've just got a question so that I have this clear in my mind. This guy needed to go to the UK to finish up a few bits and pieces, and he was gone there for 2 years. Is that right?
He was staying there for 2 years, but
Uh-huh.
the bits and pieces were just like finals and he did that in about 2 to 3 weeks.
Gotcha. So this whole 2 years is the time that he was with his ex. The baby was born. He was kind of in and out of the UK. It's that general whole period.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So now he was back in Joburg full time, and we were kicking it. It was really an amazing relationship. We spoke about everything. We spent time together. He had these random ways of saying, "Okay, I'm not feeling like being alone today," or "It's quite cold outside. Don't you want to hang?" Like it was little things, little thoughtful things. I'm bringing you dinner. And he stayed far. He didn't stay like really close by. He stayed far. He stayed like 40 k's away from me.
Wow. Okay.
For me, that was like extra effort, you know? I then had a time with him when he kind of introduced me to the kid. And that introduction didn't make sense because the child was actually really small. But I asked him, so how is it going to work? Because this child is not even a year old and you seem to have moved on already. He's like, no, the reason why I've moved on is because I had moved on while she was still pregnant.
Okay.
So you being in the picture does not affect my relationship with her. We are just basically co-parenting.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. I guess it's okay. So he told me she was going into the hospital and he's alone with the child.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Okay, maybe I should join you guys, or do you guys want to join me at my place?
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, we can come through and stuff. So he came through with his child and we spent basically the whole night together.
When
the few of us.
when you say the child was really small, how old was this child at that
He
point?
was small. He was about 4 months old
Okay.
at the time. So I spent time with that child and the father, and it was a good night, man. The child wasn't a crying baby all the time, so that made me quite happy. I got some sleep. And then the next day, he was very thankful, like he was strangely thankful. And he came to my workplace, brought me some lunch, and told me, okay, now I'm taking back the child to the hospital because the mom's getting out. So I was like, all right, cool. We'll talk when you're done with that admin. I also didn't want to be involved too much in the baby situation. I just wanted the person who I was dating by himself and everyone else would come later. If there was any involvement on my end, it would be after I say I do or whatever. Like, let it not be a hectic situation between me and the child.
Okay, can I ask why you were distancing yourself from the child at this point?
I felt he was too small. And on top of that, I felt his dad was not really I can't really pin it, but there was something shady. Like the moms, if the mom and the dad had communicated and let's say they had an argument or whatever, it would affect our relationship.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be involved in it because I also wasn't sure. Yes, our relationship was seemingly going good, but I didn't also want to end up in a situation whereby my heart is broken and on top of that I'm missing a child apart from the father. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just trying to understand how you'd have been able to separate the two, because it sounds to me like the father and the son come as a package.
Yes, they did come as a package.
So I'm just struggling to understand how you'd have been able to keep one element.
Yeah, it was going to be a struggle for a while, but I wanted to mainly establish a good relationship with the father first before I bring the child in.
Okay, gotcha.
A few weeks later, fast forward, I was having a conversation with him, and he was giving me these one word answers, and he knew from the beginning that I don't do that. So it's either you're talking to me or you're not talking to me. Don't give me one word answers for stuff that needs a whole comprehension.
Was this a conversation over the phone or text?
It was text.
Okay.
And then when I called him, it was, yes, no.
Okay, one of those.
So I was
Okay.
like, okay, bruh, good night, and so I went to bed.
Mm,
And seeing that I had been single for a while, I was okay with waking up and not saying good morning to anyone.
yeah.
But having that relationship, I had now started being open and saying good morning and good night and I love you and all that stuff, the weird stuff that people do when they love.
That weird stuff that people do when they're in love.
So that specific morning, the
Wow.
morning after, I didn't really say good morning. So he called the office. I wasn't at the office yet because I had a meeting out of the office in the morning. Then he had blown up my phone. He was trying to find out, okay, it's unlike you not to say good morning, what's going on, and all that stuff. And so later on that day, it wasn't even really late. It was like 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I switched on my phone and I find these messages. Where are you? I've called the office. You're not there, and all that. And I was like, bruh, I just had a moment. Like it wasn't like anything was happening, I was just offline for a moment. It wasn't the whole day.
Why were you offline anyway?
So I had quite a busy morning, firstly. So I wasn't on my phone as much. I knew I had a meeting in the morning, but because our conversation the night before was very, no, I didn't really tell him, okay, I've got a meeting in the morning. So I'll wake up and I'll be in a bit of a hurry. So don't be shocked if I'm missing in action.
Okay, gotcha.
I was always the girlfriend who would tell him what I'm doing when I'm doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't tell him that day. And so that's why I was basically offline. I just had a busy morning. And then he sent me a message saying, who are you with? And I'm like, what you mean? Then he says, no, because I tried to get hold of you, even at work, I tried to get hold of you and you're just not available. Who are you with? And I'm like, no one, bruh. Like, I'm not a person who will cheat on anyone because I just don't roll like that. I was with someone else. He kept quiet for like 4 to 5 days. Then I called him up one day. Our work numbers come out as private numbers, so he ended up answering.
Yeah.
And then I asked him, have you broken up with me? Because if you have, then it's better you tell me. And then he's like, no, we haven't broken up and all that stuff. I was like, okay, cool. Then up your communication, because if you're gonna just keep quiet because I was offline for like an hour in the morning, then it's not gonna work. So he said, okay, no, it's fine. I'll do better. And we moved right along.
What did he say his reason was for going quiet? Was he upset with you that you had gone MIA?
He was upset. He was upset that I was offline for an hour and a half.
So his solution to solving that problem was going quiet?
Yes, it was going quiet.
Okay.
So on the Saturday after that phone call of me telling him he has to behave himself, I had lunch with my family, a few of my cousins and stuff. So me and this guy used to go to the same church, just different branches. So I finally got to tell my sister-in-law that, look, I've been seeing this guy. We've been dating for about 4 or 5 months now. And I think he's a really nice guy, but like, I haven't told anyone about him yet. So she's like, show me a picture. And I showed her.
This sounds like it's about to get interesting.
And I showed her a picture and she's like, wait, I saw this guy with a woman and a baby at church today. So I'm like, okay. I thought they were done. She's like, he always says she's not my wife, she's not my wife. But then they're always together. Like, they're always together. So I was just like, whatever. So I then decided to have a conversation with my friend later on that evening. And then she's like, no, bruh, look on the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
We are going to find a picture of your man's and a woman. It's like a photo shoot type thing.
Right.
So I'm like, on our WhatsApp group, how come I haven't paid attention to that all this time? So I check the WhatsApp group and I take the picture and I send it to him and I'm like, you're upset with me for being offline, but there's a woman here. What's going on here? Then he says, no, I've asked her to take down the picture so many times. That's my baby mama. I'm like, how do you have your baby mama and your girlfriend on one group, a church group,
Yeah.
at the same time?
Yeah.
So then he's like, you know what? I actually think I'll never be able to see you again the same way again. I thought you were different. I don't know why you're coming up to me with this ammunition. It's better we just break up.
Oh my goodness.
So we broke up. And that was like, for me, I was just like, I don't see how life will be going forward now. Because this guy is part of every single thing that I was doing.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I ended up sending him a message. No, he sent me a message saying, thanks for everything you've done for me. My dad is feeling better because I'd actually, when I found out that his dad wasn't doing well, I asked a friend of mine to hook me up with this guy who does natural food, and he helps people overcome different diseases using plant-based diets and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him the number and I told him, get in touch with this guy. I've already told him your dad's story.
Mm-hmm.
So he sent me a message saying, thank you so much for that. My dad has adapted and now he's actually eating more natural foods and he's looking and feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, this guy broke up with me just about 2 or 3 months ago and now he's sending me such messages. What's his problem? You know?
So can I ask how long you guys have been together for?
We had been together at that point for about 7 months.
Okay.
So then month 8 is when month 9 is when he sent me that message saying, thanks for everything you did for my dad. So I was like, okay, cool. And then he started with his good mornings again. I'm like, hey, okay.
Here we go.
What has happened?
Yeah.
And so we continued talking. We started talking, and then I told him, but you hurt me. Like, you had no reason to break up with me like that.
Yeah.
And so he said, no, I'm really sorry. And this guy was a charmer, Tinto.
Oh, yeah?
Bella was a charmer. He would send songs upon songs explaining his feelings. And he would send me paragraphs of how he actually cares about me and how sorry he is.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, cool. And then one Saturday evening, he sends me a message and he says, I'm just leaving a funeral. Can I please come over and we need to talk?
Mm-hmm.
So he came through and we had a conversation and he's like, so are we going to try? And I'm like, yeah, we're going to try. Let's try. But can I just get some answers? Are you still with baby mama or not? Like, I need you to be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, no, we're not together anymore. We're really not together. Please, can you just forgive me for the way I reacted that day? Sometimes being in this co-parenting thing with this woman can be annoying, and she nags a lot, and he had everything negative to say about her.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. We continued dating. We dated again for another 2 to 3 months, and then he started disappearing. He'll disappear for 2 weeks on end. And when I ask him what happened, where were you? There's like but you know, babe, I was dealing with my certification exams.
I mean, I need to ask you the question, though. There are a lot of things that are appearing like red flags to me already. I mean, there's the whole car seat and shoes situation. There's the abrupt breakup itself. There's the WhatsApp group. There's the sister-in-law from church. There's a lot of stuff here that is hinting to this guy living a double life. Now, were you thinking the same at that time? That something here is not right with this guy.
That's where the pray without ceasing comes in. I had taken time to ask God, okay, if this guy is meant for me, you will show me that he's meant for me. If he's not meant for me, please also show me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had seen the red flags. I had a feeling something was not right.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I don't know if I was, maybe this is lesson number 3, 4.
4.
Don't be so desperate to love and be loved. When love happens, it's just going to happen.
Okay.
Don't force love.
Okay.
So I think I was after 2 years or so of being single, to finally be getting that love and that attention from someone, I was like, oh, okay, I might as well just sit around and wait for the love to actually flourish.
All right.
Yeah. So I had a feeling that stuff was not right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided at that point to take more time in prayer. And so every time I would pray, I would dream of this woman fighting with me. I knew how she looked like, but I didn't pay much attention.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I decided to save her number on my phone. And so,
and you got her number from the WhatsApp group?
From the WhatsApp group, yes.
Okay.
Funny thing is with WhatsApp, when I save your number, Tinto, and you don't save mine, I won't be able to see anything that you do, like your statuses and all that stuff.
Yeah,
but if you save my number and I save your number, we'll be able to see each other's statuses.
Don't tell me you could see her statuses.
I could see her statuses. She could see mine.
So she had your number saved.
She had my number saved.
That's crazy.
So Guy had started this disappearing act of his where he would send me a message on a Saturday morning saying, have a good weekend. Then I'm like, okay, weren't we supposed to meet? And he disappears for like a week. Then he comes back and he's like, babe, are you okay? And I'm like, but you disappeared. No, I was busy with my exams and all that. I was like, okay, fine. I let it slide the first time. And then the second time, then I was like, you know what? Jesus, you need to answer me. Is this guy messing around?
Mm-hmm.
And so I sent him a message one evening and I said, okay, so I'm going to come through to your house because I don't understand your silence and I haven't seen you in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, please come through. So I went through to his house.
Mm-hmm.
Guy is changing bed sheets. I'm like, why are you changing bed sheets?
Wow.
Okay, it's fine. And then I look on the floor and there's hair, like hair from a wig. I don't know if it's a wig or it's whatever it was. And I'm like, okay, I never do black hair on my hair, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who this hair is for, but then I shut up about it.
Okay, so Afia, I need to ask you a question. Okay, so you've walked into this guy's house, you've seen him changing sheets, you've seen hair. I'm concerned about something. Were you guys intimate? Were you guys having sex?
So we had this no sex before marriage policy.
Uh-huh.
But that night, I don't know. That night, yes, we ended up having sex.
What was this the first time you guys had sex?
Yes, it was basically the first time we had sex.
How is it that you decide to have sex the first time that you discover another woman's hair?
Yeah, no. Remember when I saw the hair, I didn't really want to talk about it. I saw it there and I basically just kept quiet about it. I had seen it and I wanted to move on with my life, and I didn't also want him to think, but Efia, come on, like, you're here, I'm here, I'm trying to do this thing and you're just not responding. What's wrong? I didn't want to give it off so obviously.
But the thing is, you are there, he's there, and there's also a piece of hair. Do you get what I mean? If I was a woman and I saw a piece of hair there, the last thing I'll be thinking about is having sex with that person because I have so many questions about who that individual is. But for you, that's the day that you chose to have sex with him. That is bizarre. How did that happen, honestly?
I also think it was for validation.
Your validation.
Yes. Like there's nothing wrong with me. He wants to sleep with me because there's nothing wrong with me. Because I also, apart from not being intimate this whole time when
Yeah.
we're dating and
Yeah.
all that, it kind of I always wondered, what if, okay, when we do have sex, what if he finds her to be better than I am?
Okay. So seeing that strand of hair sounds like it sent a message to you to say today is the perfect opportunity to prove that whoever was here before me is not better than I am.
You hit the nail on the head.
That is crazy.
I know, right? So it was basically me saying, you know what? Baby girl was probably here for probably 2 weeks. Let me show this guy that I have what baby girl has, probably even better.
I mean, when you think about what you did that night and the fact that you eventually broke up,
It disgusts me.
okay.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Thanks. I won't dwell on that, but thanks for sharing that.
Cool. So I went to work the next day because it was a Sunday when I went to sleep over at his house. I
Yeah.
went to work on the Monday, and then Monday, Tuesday, he just decided to go quiet again. So now with the silence, I was like, I'm done with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna bother. I won't even bother to tell him that it's over. I just want to see how this will play out.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, the dreams kept coming of me and this woman arguing and fighting and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We started talking again about 2 or 3 months later. And I sent him a message and I said, dude, you really hurt me. Like, I don't even know what happened to our relationship. And he couldn't give me answers. And just moved right along. Like, he was this guy who would respond with an LOL or a meme to something serious once in a while.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to discuss it.
Yeah.
So I think it was the next year. I decided, you know what, I'm going to ask this guy questions. But before I could ask this guy questions, I saw a photo shoot because baby mama and I had saved each other's numbers. So I saw pictures of him, her, and the baby on his first birthday.
Another photo. Oh, on his first birthday. Okay.
On kid's first birthday.
Yeah.
Which was what now led to the final breakup, stop talking and anger situation.
There are certain things that sort of kind of don't add up, and I need you to clarify for me. So I know you're upset with this disappearing ways. You decided you're going to leave this and let this play out. At that point, did you guys break up?
No, we didn't.
So how long did you not talk for?
I considered it a breakup though, Tinto.
Yeah.
Even though we didn't talk for about 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I considered it a breakup. He was saying that we're still on, whether you like it or not.
I mean, so you guys in a relationship, but you don't talk. So a silent relationship.
Yes, basically.
Okay.
So I sent him the pictures because I took them down from her status and I said, but what bullshit is this? And then he says, he tries to call me. And I'm like, no. You're not calling me. I want to know, what is this?
Yeah.
He said, no, she's the one who paid for the photo shoot. Please don't consider that we're together and all that stuff. So I was like, no, actually, I'm done playing games with you. You need to tell me what's really happening. Before we could actually have the final conversation of what exactly is happening between the two of you, she puts up a picture and she says, birthday things with my husband.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So I take that picture and I'm like, okay, and then what's this? Remember, Tinto, this whole time I've been praying and fasting for this relationship
Yeah.
to show whether it's actually real or not.
Yeah.
And he sends me a message and he says, "Who sent you that picture? Is it her friend?" Because me and her had a mutual friend
Mm-hmm.
that would basically tell me, "No, but this guy is married." And I'm like, "No, he's not married." Every time she'll tell me he's married, I would ask, "But how is he married if he stays alone?"
Yeah.
And so I told him, "No, she didn't send me the picture. This mutual friend didn't send me the picture.
Mm-hmm.
I have the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Just tell me, are you married to this woman?" And he's like, "But I told you we're co-parenting."
Okay.
So I decided I'm going to text wife and find out what exactly is going on.
Oh, here we go. Uh-huh.
So I text wife and I'm like, "Hi, I'm a very prayerful person. I just want to know. I don't want to be linked to you, your husband, and your family
Yeah.
by having a relationship with this man. Are you guys really married or not?" And
Yeah.
then she says to me, "I don't understand why you are getting in touch with me when you know that this man has been married since December.
Wow.
We got married officially in December. He moved into my house in the year before in October." So I'm like, so this is when the guy had been disappearing and keeping quiet for months and all that stuff. He was busy getting married.
Wow.
So she's like, and then earlier on this year, him and I got married at the courts. Like we signed at the courts on this date and all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, wow. And then her last text to me was, "I hope you enjoyed opening your legs because that's all you're good for."
Oh my goodness.
So then I literally sent him a message and I told him, "You are dead to me," because I didn't understand. From the very beginning, I had told this guy, I do not want to date a person. I don't play with married men.
Yeah.
I don't want to date a person who belongs to someone else. I don't want to be a side chick. I don't want to be a second girlfriend. It's either me and you or not, nothing at all. But then he made me be in a place where I was so vulnerable, to the point where after that conversation with the woman, I basically shut down. Like I couldn't talk to friends. I literally didn't have anything else apart from that relationship. And so then the lady sent me that message, and then earlier on sent me screenshots of myself. So there would be times where I would crash on myself and I would put up a status saying, "I'm my own woman crush." And she sent me the pictures saying, "Things like this used to annoy me about you. I don't even understand why you think you're beautiful. You're just here ruining people's marriages," and all that
Whoa.
stuff.
Whoa. 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 This was starting to turn in your face.
Yes. And basically I was just saying, "Look, lady, I don't want to mess up your marriage any further.
Yeah.
I don't want you to, when you don't see him at your house, I don't want you to think he's with me. I literally just want to know, are you guys together or are you not together, so I can walk away?"
Yeah.
So I received a bucket load of insults that day.
Mm.
And when I asked him for an explanation, because I took screenshots of her messages to me,
Mm-hmm.
and I sent him those messages, and till today, he has not said a word.
Yeah. Because he knows that he's been caught.
Yes, till today, he hasn't said a word.
Well, I'm just going to touch a little bit on the red flags. So there were red flags from his disappearing acts. And just said that you should always listen to your sixth sense. So at the time that all of that was happening, what was your sixth sense really saying to you?
It was saying leave. I was dreaming about this woman and I was fighting with this woman consistently over this man
And
in
you,
my dream.
and your sixth sense was saying leave, leave, leave. So why didn't you listen to it?
I had hope. It goes back to me wanting to feel loved and being loved by this person
Yeah.
who, when they come back, it wouldn't be like they left. every time he would come back, it would be really amazing. Like it would be so different. It was like he never even ghosted me for the
Yeah.
2 weeks, for the 3 weeks. He would always want to make me feel comfortable in
Mm.
those 2 or 3 days that he would be around,
Yeah.
and then he was there for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And it turned out that he had actually moved in with her, but he still kept his other apartment.
Oh, wow. So that he
So
could
I
get, my
wasn't,
goodness. So he had a
yeah,
smashing pad, pretty much.
yeah, basically, probably still has. I hope he doesn't.
Oh, my
So
goodness.
basically,
Well, I've got another question for you. Your first lesson was actually pray always about your relationships. Now, when you were in this prayer group that you were in, at that
mm,
point, had you been praying for a guy to be with?
I had been praying for a guy to be with.
Okay, so your prayer was answered.
It was answered, and I'd also been praying that I am not, I am fixed to the point where I don't end up messing up someone's life.
Yeah,
So I wanted to be a good wife, and I wanted a good husband
yeah.
as well. So the prayer was answered. The prayer was answered. But remember, not only God answers prayers, even the devil can answer your
So this was an answered prayer from the devil.
Yeah, no, this was a distraction rather. Let
Oh,
me put it that
that
way.
is hilarious. And then just to get a little more flesh on the last point that you raised, you said that don't be desperate for no, I mean, always set standards and boundaries for yourself. So for you, what standard did you set yourself that you lowered in this situation?
In this situation, it was me not following up with stuff.
Okay.
I'm a person who wants stuff to be, you tell me this, it should be the truth, and
Mm-hmm.
I will investigate to make sure that it's the truth.
Okay, right, gotcha.
Um, I had told myself I wouldn't date anyone with kids,
Mm-hmm.
not because I not because I hate kids. I love kids.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was going to date you and you had a kid, it should be like a certain age group. Like the
Yeah,
child must be like 5 years old or something,
yeah,
to the point where you don't even want to see the mother. The mother's with someone else by now. But I was dating a guy whose child was 4 months old
yeah, yeah, yeah.
when we started dating. And later on it yeah, it was just a mess because I was finding out all this stuff and the child was only a year old.
Oh my goodness, yeah. And you don't want to be that person who's ruining a child's life like that, isn't it?
Exactly. And also I didn't want to be a party to a divorce.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a reason why people break up. I still don't. Whether
Yeah.
it's a relationship or a marriage, I still don't. So those are the standards that I had set for myself regarding relationships. There were do's and don'ts that I had, and I all the don'ts were not daunted.
All the dots were haunted. That's actually funny the way that you put that. That's
I
hilarious.
didn't don't all the don'ts, like
Uh,
I
okay.
knew don't date a guy with a child younger than this age, and I went and I dated that guy. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I'm guessing you guys aren't
so
in the same WhatsApp group still.
we are unfortunately.
Eh.
I just don't respond to anything he sends because
Okay.
I realize that me leaving, especially after that situation with a wife,
Mm-hmm.
would basically be me saying, okay, whatever relationship I have with people in my church group,
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting that aside because of a relationship that failed. So yeah, he does text once in a while and stuff, but I just don't read his stuff.
Okay.
Basically.
Do you
Yeah.
guys bump into each other at church?
Um I've bumped into him a few times. I gagged quite a lot most of the times.
You don't talk to each other?
No, we haven't spoken since I told him he was dead to me.
Do you miss him?
I don't think I miss him, Tinto, but I really wish I could have an opportunity to ask why.
So you need to have that closure.
Yes.
What will that help you with? If it tells you why, what would that help you with?
I guess that's the reason why I haven't bothered to ask. because like I'm just like, okay, after he tells me the reason why, then what?
Yeah.
Will the price of bread change? It's still gonna be the same price.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So I feel like it won't really. Closure is great, but sometimes you don't get it.
Yeah.
And I guess just trying to learn how to pick up the pieces by myself is what will help me get through and probably meet someone in the next 10 years or something.
Okay. So my last question for you then: have you moved on since?
As in, am I seeing anyone?
Yeah. Are you seeing anyone? Do you feel you're in an emotional position to welcome someone else, knowing that you don't have baggage from this situation?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anyone,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm in a way better space now.
Okay.
Yeah, I was really in a bad space.
Yeah.
I would wake up and I would shower because my friend called me to say, now it's time to shower, you know?
Yeah.
Um, do your hair now. We need to go somewhere. But now I'm in a better place. I think my focus has been more on my career
Yeah.
and not really relationships. So I would welcome someone if it happens
Mm-hmm.
naturally. I'm not going to. This forcing thing is not for me anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you did say as one as your as one of your last lessons, you said don't be desperate for love and to be loved.
Yeah,
So I guess you're giving yourself that room to grow and let it happen naturally. Is that correct?
it's basically yeah.
Well, thank you very much. That was a really interesting story. And for those listening to this episode of the podcast, just to give you a summary of the lessons that Afia mentioned. First one up, she says, pray always about your relationship, but also bear in mind that it's not only God who listens to prayers and answers prayers. The devil could easily do the same. So have that discerning voice to make the difference and distinction between the two. And then if there are any red flags that you're seeing in a relationship, make sure you pay those attention because your sixth sense is never wrong. Afia saw a lot of red flags, missed a couple of opportunities to ask questions, but now she recognizes how important it is to do so. Third lesson was always set boundaries and standards for yourself. Never lower these because the moment you do those, you kind of lose who you really are. And last but not least, she says, don't be desperate for love and don't be desperate to be loved. You've been listening to another Feeling Station podcast. I'm your host, Tinto, and I look forward to catching you next week. Peace.
Ow. Tell me what you're feeling.
Sati zandaro raini and chake zaini.
Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over.
Sati zandaro raini and chake zaini.
Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziro amai.
Kujidziro amai. Love is a fire.
Urudoi motoru noto kujidziro amai.